Okay, great golden afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, on the Facebook. We coming to you live, Hillman Muhammad, from Huntsville, Alabama, the Rocket City, also known as the Courage to Change. Now, we have a news hour that we are doing periodically, and really we getting ready to get a couple of more hosts on to bring it to you on a daily basis. But right now, we have a special guest on today that I am excited about bringing her on. She is come with a wealth of social and professional standard here that I'm impressed. In fact, so impressed. I invited her on last week, but she schedule was so tight that she said this week would be better. So this is a better day because it's May 1st, and we're getting ready to do a lot of things. I think things are opening back up, and I'd like to give my sympathy to all those that maybe have lost something during this crisis, and just admonishing all of us to be patient with this development because we had never seen anything like this and we don't know the fullness of it. But stay safe and get ready to come out of this with a new attitude, a new mindset. And this is the best way to take advantage of this, and this is the best way to think about. It's not like you being confined from life, because it's really not that much life going on out there. So, with with the courage to change now. Again, my name is Hillman Muhammad. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Wall Street, Alabama. The Courage to Change now is an initiative of the Black Wall Street platform geared towards a movement on education, about education. And that brings me into what my guest has. She has a wealth of education in the financial area, and also she helped in structuring your business and doing a whole lot. My guest name is Bev Hammond, and she comes from a lot of experience. She did 20 years. She served 20 years in the U.S. Air Force, and then she's got another 20 years run as an entrepreneur in information technology. So I know you should be excited right now just hearing those credentials. And she lists her social standard as having a successful life. And I think that's worthy for us to have. Without any further delay, I would like to bring on our sister, Bev Hammond. She is the president of Black Wealth Consortium. I hope I pronounced that right. That's a tongue twister, Bev, but I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna reduce it down to the BWC.
Awesome.
That's much easier for all of us. Okay, so without any further delay, Bev, can you hear me?
I can absolutely hear you. Thank you so much for the invitation to spend this afternoon with you. I'm sitting here in Houston, beautiful sunny day, nice breeze coming through my window, and just excited to be on this the Courage to Change Now platform.
Right.
So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this platform today.
Well, you sitting where I have sat for many years in Houston because I'm originally from Texas. Most of my adult life is out of Houston. So, Beb, tell us something a little about what we can expect from this organization, this movement that you and Dr. Joe Webb have going on. That got me so excited, I signed on a dime to be a part of this and to get the wealth of information that you guys have to offer.
Yeah, listen, you do not mess around. I tell you, we are so happy to have you as a part of our BWC family. I think I would love to answer your answer your request by going back to what really struck me when Joe connected you and I. You had just launched your crusade, The Courage to Change Now, and I thought the title was phenomenal. One of the reasons that it struck me so much was that when I started My black, what we now know as my Black Wealth Consortium crusade. I'll never forget. I was listening to an amazing book. It's called the Strangest Secret.
Ah.
Author, Earl Nightingale's author, and in the book he talked about courage, and he said that his assessment of courage was that it was the opposite of conformity.
Hmm.
That was just an epiphany for me, because at that point in my life I realized that I had conformed in more ways that I was comfortable with at this particular stage in my life. And I think that when I think about what you and your platform are trying to do, and you're declaring courage, we are in a time now where we need to understand that we can stand in courage in opposition to conformity. You see, there's so many things that we're conforming to, and we don't even realize that we're conforming to the programming of what wealth building looks like. We're conforming to belief systems that don't empower us, they disempower us. We're even conforming, in my opinion, to a narrative in terms of the plight of Black America that, again, is not necessarily empowering, it's disempowering. And so when BWC, when Black Wealth Consortium, when we first launched our crusade, quite frankly, we didn't know what we didn't know. We thought that the strategy that would be most effective for Black Wealth Consortium was in the real estate space. Now, don't get me wrong, real estate is a very important component of our strategy. But when we started digging deep and starting stepping out in courage in areas that we realized we were conforming to, we found that Black Wealth Consortium as a crusade was a much bigger umbrella. So we started identifying our purpose, our mission, and our vision. We had to really spend time trying to understand how we could leverage the skill set, the talents, the philosophies of our principal individuals in a way that we could impact each and every Black family that was ready to step away from conformity and into courage. So here we are 2 years later. We have what we believe to be structure. We have what we believe to be a philosophy that is going to be tested and proven through our journey. And we're just extremely excited about what's going on with Black Wealth Consortium.
Yes, I'm just thrown by your the way you deliver a message, your stamina, your sharpness, and the way you talk. You know, I'll tell you, it's easy for me to listen to you, but I'm sure it's easier for the audience to hear. And this is what Black Wall Street, Alabama, is about through this initiative, the Courage to Change, is to bring a
Mhm.
platform of people like yourself, Sister Bell, that have a wealth of information through not only education but experience. And you could talk on a lot of subjects, but one of the things that I point out, I would like to point out, is that you stated my true journey begins once I overhaul my belief system and
Yes,
transforming my thinking and shifting my focus totally to the
yes,
purpose of empowering black families. I thought right
absolutely.
there that deserved an award for just that. And I see you're carrying that into practice.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting that, um, after yours and my first extended conversation, that was a takeaway that we both had. Um, I discovered that in launching Black Wealth Consortium and trying to figure out what our strategy really should look like, there were a lot of shiny, what I call shiny objects that just showed up on my radar. Things that were easy to, that seemed to appear to be a solution to the challenges. But you have to be really, really careful in terms of the direction that you take. When you're trying to build an organization, you need clarity, you need focus, you need execution. And so in the early days, again, I love reading. I'm so, oh my good, enamored at this stage in my life in terms of access to amazing books. And I'm talking books that were written in the early 1900s that here I am, um, you know, quite mature in my life cycle, and I had no knowledge of
Right.
these kinds of books being out there. And I think this is one of the things that really gets me excited about the internet and the generations behind us, because they will have access to a wealth of knowledge that we could only acquire, you and I, in our earlier stages in our lives through hard copy books, and they weren't always easy to come by. But so I apologize for digressing. But here's the thing.
No.
One of my favorites is Michael Beckwith. He wrote a book called Life Visioning. And for those of you in the audience that may be familiar with Dr. Beckwith, I came into the knowledge of him during the phase when the movie The Secret was released, and Dr. Beckwith was one of the panel members of an interview, and he talked about the law of attraction. But in his book, Life Visioning, and I tell you, for anyone that is looking for purpose and of phases and stages that you go through as you're maturing in trying to really figure out what your purpose is and your life journey is, this is an amazing book for you to add to your library. But he said something in the book that I'll never forget. He said, let pain push you
Hmm.
until your vision pulls you.
Wow.
Right? So let's unpack that. Pain is a powerful force. And out of pain, oftentimes we will do things that we need to do and probably should have done before it got to that point of pain. But when you operate from a vision, you're compelled to make the sacrifices. You're compelled to take the actions. You're compelled to persist. And so when we launched Blackwell Consortium, we were very clear about all the pain points in Black America. We
Ah.
we know those stories. We've been hearing those stories for centuries, literally. We think about the history of Black folks in this country in terms of the centuries of pain.
Hmm.
That story is not familiar to us. But Michael Beckwith's phrase to me in terms of allowing vision to pull you said to me, let's shift and let's operate from a place where we have a vision that is big enough that will compel us to reach for bigger and bolder ideas, that will compel us to be courageous, that will compel us to create a context that people might not understand initially. But if we know that we've got it right, we've dotted the I's, we've crossed the T's, let's go with it. So when that vision perspective became a part of my reality, coincidentally, I read the book Powernomics. And see, I
Right.
just timing it because you actually did a piece on Dr. Anderson earlier in the week, and I was like, oh my God, this is just so amazing. So Powernomics, Dr. Anderson outlined what he believed to be the economic strategy for Black America, and he had 5 key points. Point number one is he said we needed to define our communities not in the context of neighborhoods and enclaves of homes that we may own, but a community has an economic system.
Yes.
I had to change the way I use the term community after reading that book. No, no. I live in the neighborhood or I live in the subdivision because we do not have an economic base here where I physically reside. Not
Hmm.
black folks anyway. The second
Yes.
he said was, then once you have defined your community, you need to create that economic system, right? There we go. Creativity, vision,
Hmm.
imagination, ideas. You then need to leverage that economic system in ways that it empowers your community to influence the political system. See, he said, don't worry about getting elected as a politician, build an economic system so that you can control the politicians, right?
Right, right.
It's all about now from that we create institutions that serve our agenda, and we use the media, we create a communication outlets that allow us to communicate effectively. So this construct that he put forth in Powernomics impacted me significantly, caused me to say, wait a minute, real estate is not the end game. Here's the end game. The NAACP, I want to say the late 80s, released a report, and I'm sure, again, many of the members of your audience has heard variations of the report where it compared the life cycle of the dollar in black
Yes.
communities compared to other ethnic communities. And without citing the number specifically, the bottom line was that we were looking at hours in black communities versus days in other communities. So when Dr. Anderson's model of building an economic base within black communities became a part of my paradigm, all this report was saying is that we need to have an economic system
Hmm.
within black communities that is controlled by black families, that is a principle in building wealth generationally for black families so that those business will exist into perpetuity.
Yes.
Became the principle and underlying concept of how we structured Black Wealth Consortium. It started out in real estate, but we've created a model that I think is even more powerful.
I agree. I agree. Bev, I know you take your time because we got your time today, but you point out something about even real estate. Anything that is an asset is not the end game.
That's right.
It's just
That's
not the end game. Like,
not a single asset.
right,
It's all about how you create synergy
right.
in owning and controlling assets. And so you invited me to take my time, so I'm gonna do that because I got a couple of things that I would love
I
to break
I
down.
want you to, Bev, because I can't. I want the people to hear you. They've been hearing me a lot.
Okay, so let's go back to the NWC report in terms of the dollar flowing through black communities. And again, me for me personally, I made that the connection between that challenge and the need to have black owned businesses that can survive
Yes.
not only in our communities, but that can compete in the marketplace. Because when you understand economics, and I am not by any stretch of the imagination an expert on economics, but I do understand the principle of trading between countries. You know, you have to have trade balances. You have to have goods going in and you have to have goods coming out. There has to be equity and equilibrium in terms of that activity. The notion that we should focus solely on Black owned businesses within Black communities is a great starting point. But Black businesses in terms of their success demands longevity in ways that they can compete in the marketplace. And so a black owned business that is in black neighborhoods that also would thrive and survive in other ethnic neighborhoods,
Hmm.
that's going to create longevity for that particular business. I mean, when you look at other ethnic groups, and when you just take a look at how the capitalistic system works, in black neighborhoods, we have big box stores that we spend our money at every day. Well, that same big box store, Target, is not only in a black neighborhood, it is in a Jewish neighborhood, it is in a Hispanic neighborhood, it is in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood. So the key is to build businesses that will survive regardless of the geography.
Hmm.
Now, here's the trick. Going back to black owned businesses, oftentimes we hear um, disparaging remarks about black owned businesses. Price point is too high, it's not competitive. Quality of customer service is not professional, not what you would expect. Locations are not convenient. And so these conversations are oftentimes crouched in the context of why we're challenged to support Black owned businesses. I make the case that the conversation really needs to start with how do we capitalize Black owned businesses?
Hmm.
See, by the time we're trying to figure out how to give them our consumer dollar, they've already been undercapitalized.
Hmm.
They're already not competing in the marketplace. So they basically start at ground zero with the losing strategy when they lack adequate capital.
Yes.
That resonated significantly with me, which is why I realized that real estate was not the end game. It's a part of the game, but the end game is capitalizing Black owned businesses. You have to have capital in a
Hmm.
capitalistic society,
Right.
right?
Right. And
Right.
Bev, you also need the mindset for success. And this is another strong point that I have found in my journey in dealing with the black community. You have to be coachable and teachable because most people that have a profession, they don't have the other things that BWC can offer them, as far as, like you talked about, the need for a proper economic investment in your business. But then you have to learn all these other facets of business to be successful. And doing
Abs-
internet, not only different neighborhoods, we still have to consider international trade, trade with our brothers and sisters throughout the world that are waiting. Sister Bell, and I'm gonna let you get back, but I want to say I attended a international workshop in Detroit in February, and I was taken aback. In fact, I'm going to have one of the presenter on my show on Sunday morning. He's a Puerto Rican, but he's dealing with Cuba, with Brazil, with the Dominican, the islands, all over South America, that want to be do business with the black community in America.
mhm.
But the conduit there is not there because of the mindset of thinking that we are very local. But this is an international platform, especially after this crisis. When we go
Abs-
back out, we need to start looking at some bigger vision. As you said, vision is where it's going to help us overcome and not let us fall back into what we just come out of. Does that make any sense, Beth?
it absolutely. I mean, listen, you're firing on all cylinders. We're in a new norm now. We don't know what that new norm looks like, but I can tell you that tomorrow does not look like yesterday as a result of this experience, this global experience. You know, I tell many of my colleagues and my friends that I see this as a global lifetime timeout.
Yes.
And the question is, how do we use that time? How do we reflect and take introspection as a result of what's happened? There are many uncertainties on the other side of this. There are many, as you started your segment by saying, there are many people that have experienced losses of loved ones, uh, tremendous challenges. Um, they don't know financially what it's going to look like on the other side of this, and so those those challenges are very real.
Yes.
But you know what, Hillman, we go through many of those kind of challenges every day. What's different about this window, and not to minimize any aspect of it, is that our challenges have been exponentially elevated in a short window of time.
Right.
And so we're reeling from it and we're trying to figure out what it all means. And I'll make the case that one of the things that Black Wealth Consortium had to figure out is, how do we take such a grand vision and make it feel personal to each member of BWC? See,
Yes.
I can get only but so excited about something that belongs to and is controlled by someone else or something else. But when I can figure out how it's going to work for me, if I can figure out how to make sense of it for my life, for my family, for the legacy
Hmm.
that my husband and I want to build, then my mindset drives my level of commitment. So as you pointed out, mindset is a very important part of this journey, for commitment, but also for focus. Because there's a
Hmm.
lot of noise out there. There are a lot of distractions, right? There are a lot of things that's tugging away at our attention. And
Yes.
so, for Consortium, we set out to find the least common denominator that we could hang our hat on and help each member of our organization realize gradual small successes. And over a period of time, it becomes a journey toward a longer term success. So, one of the things that we had to do is we had to understand that if we want to position ourselves collectively to capitalize Black owned businesses, because again, our purpose, our mission, and our vision looks like this. For our purpose, we had to be really specific. We knew that we wanted to impact change within Black communities, so revitalize the Black community. That was our focus. But how would we do that? Well, we figured that if we were able to re-educate
Yes.
our on this process of what we call asset collecting, we knew enough about the different classes of assets to position them correctly, so that assets we collect are either income generating assets
Hmm.
or they are equity based assets. Either way, we are positioning these assets to build a portfolio. So if that is our purpose, if our purpose is about asset collecting, as we call it, with leveraging in terms of building generational portfolios, there was a learning curve that had to be addressed. And so out of that came our mission of providing a platform to acquire not only knowledge, but knowledge that you could apply
Applied knowledge.
So our relationship between knowledge and action is what keeps us on the right track. When we make decisions as an executive body of BWC, we have two questions that we have to get the answers to. Question number one is, will it bring the right knowledge to our members? And question number two is, will they be able to take action with that knowledge?
Hmm.
And if we can't answer both of those questions with a yes, then that's not for us. Now, I can tell you that process alone has saved us a lot of time and resources in terms of chasing the wrong path or strategy, because we have those two filters that are built in. But let me get to our vision. Remember, vision pulling us.
Right.
See, our vision is to launch a venture capital firm that is significant enough in resources that we can start to impact what Black owned businesses look like in our community and position them to compete in other communities. So, to do that, we looked at what would be a threshold in terms of launching a venture capital firm. And without getting into the specifics in terms of numbers, we concluded that we needed to build a community at least 100,000 families strong with what we call their family enterprises. Now, I want you to notice that while BWC has this grand vision, we're keeping our eye on how we're empowering the members of Black Wealth Consortium so that we can be change agents
Ah,
in Black communities, right? There are many great organizations doing amazing things to serve Black communities, but we decided we wanted to serve our members first and then let them go
yes.
and do what they do, right? Carry that impact much further. So again, coming back to how, what does that look like for our BWC members? Well, we have a concept we call cash flow shifting.
Yes.
Remember, I talked about
Yes.
conform, right? We talked
Yes.
about having the courage not to conform. But one of the things that we conform to automatically is the notion in 2020 that getting the education to get the good job, to work 40 years for the same company, to retire
Ah,
successfully, we still think that that's a reality. It is not.
yes. Yes.
Statistics over and over and over again that says that the average adult will have at least 7 to 9 jobs in this information economy compared to their fathers or their
Hmm.
grandparents.
Hmm.
Like, so if you're going to have an average of 7 to 9 jobs during your working career, how are you going to get to 40 years, right? How are you going to get there? Here's the other notion is that, and I have to say this very carefully because I do not want any member of your audience misrepresenting this concept. The notion that saving money will build wealth.
Ah,
That
yes.
saving money is in principle the correct thing to do, but the more complete thing to do is to find ways to invest your earned income
Hmm.
into assets
Appreciate.
that generate passive income,
Yes.
a velocity or at a rate that will allow you to realize wealth over a defined period of time.
Y-
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you was going to come up for air. But anyway,
Uh, you told me.
yeah, yeah. But it's a couple points I wanted to make about the back end of businesses. Dr. Joe and I talked about creating our own financial institution,
Hmm.
because as we know, the fractionalized banking, they are able to get rich off of our deposit because of the principle of only having to keep 10% of whatever you deposit in the bank, and then use their holding company and their investing company to invest your money that you put into those financial institutions. Because I was taken aback to the Vietnamese when they came into the Houston area where you are in the middle 70s. They didn't put their monies in a financial institution of any sort. They kept their
Absolutely.
money until they could get their own financial children and family involved in financial institution. And right now, as a result, they have a whole segment of Houston that's just for the Asian population, and they control their economy, control everything that comes through that area. So, but they funded it with their own monies.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, when we talk about institutions, whether we're talking um, financial institutions, social institutions, educational institutions, even religious institutions, I personally, I really believe that we've got to overhaul all of that, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Yes,
We to we have to figure out a way. You said something in one of your programs I caught earlier this week. You talked about collaborating. One of the most exciting aspects of the partnership that Black Wall Street, Alabama, the Courage to Change Now organization, in partnership with Black Wealth Consortium, the thing that I am most proudest of in that relationship is that we started on day one saying, let's figure out what's been covered by us individually, and let's figure out how we can avoid duplication of effort
yes, yes,
and identify the commonality and figure out how to support that. And then on the fringes, we do whatever we need to do to support the purpose, mission, and vision of our independent organization.
yes,
So I think that when we talk about our institutions, I think part of that mindset that we keep addressing requires, no, demands that we figure out how to identify the zone that we have in common so that we can then focus on the peripheral of those unique areas that are represented by our organization. And I think we'll get more traction. And in my opinion, the financial institutions, they don't serve Black families in ways that we can leverage that to our benefit. And so it's interesting we're talking about the financial institutions because going back to the Black Wealth Consortium, what I call construct,
hmm,
we have this principle we call cash flow shifting. So this is what it looks like. Because not only are we underserved by financial institutions, we're underserved by our political base. We're just underserved in many areas. So how do we get the average Black family to connect to Black Wealth Consortium in ways that they don't feel overwhelmed by the vision, but more importantly, they feel that they are being served. Their family's interest is being served.
right,
So we created a four-phase strategy. In phase one, and fortunately, as a result of the Tax and Job Act that was penned in 2017, but was formalized in 2018, a home-based business is now one of the best tax shelters
Yes. Yes.
that exist. Okay. Now, what's ironic is that contrary to sometimes how the media portrays the black experience. Oftentimes you see these horrible images with black faces. Black black folks, listen, we grind, we hustle,
Yes. Yes.
we make right. We got our side gig, but because and interestingly enough, we've been calling the side gig for decades. Now, if you check it out, there's a new term that's a phrase that's emerged: the gig economy, right?
Yes.
But anyway, I digress. So here's the thing. So because we don't understand that the tax code, it favors businesses, and it I don't want to say penalize, but earned income is the most tax disadvantaged
Yes.
status, right? So when you understand that your tax favorability comes from the business space, then instead of fearing the IRS,
Yes.
understand how to leverage the tax code to your advantage. So we understood that. So this is why in phase one, we help our members properly. And when I say properly, dot I's and cross T's, we help them learn how to properly set up a home based business,
Yes.
beginning with registering as a bare minimum a sole proprietorship or DBA or fictitious name, whatever it's called in your municipality. Get that thing registered, right? We then teach them how to document their business activity, how to document their business expenses, how to use tools so that in the event
Mm-hmm.
that they are audited, they have documentation beats conversation every day of the week. They have the documentation to fall back on. And rather than fearing the IRS, you defend your position because you have the knowledge and you've taken the steps and the action to do that, right? So now, why is that a big deal? Well, the reason that's a big deal is because the IRS says that 80% of taxpayers overpay their
Yes.
taxes.
Yes.
Well, now coming back to mindset, right? Many black families get excited about the refund check that they're going to get in April, May. But what we want them to understand is that Uncle Sam has had your money for up to 12 months
Yes.
interest.
Yes. Yes.
So that's our first phase of strategy, is to help you understand how the tax code works, how to take advantage of it so that you can start bringing in more discretionary income. Or what are you going to do with that income? Well, here comes phase two.
Right. Right.
So helping you to shift money that you've already earned and didn't control into assets that are not defined by the application that you submit to the bank. These are assets that put more income and more equity into your pocket, into your portfolio, and
Yes.
more into the legacy that you're building. So that's what the foundation looks like when you first start with Black Wealth Consortium. Now, as we move forward, as a matter of fact, I'm very excited because we have now launched our Black Wealth Consortium real estate umbrella. And this is going to allow us to help BWC members. You shared earlier in my bio that I served in the military for 20 years. in the Air Force, well, in all military branches, there's this concept called on the job training.
Yes.
Right? You get to do it while you learn it. So people romanticize real estate. They think that it's just going to be, you're going to show up for a seminar, you're going to check out a couple YouTube videos, you're going to read a few books, and then you're going to get out there, you're going to realize all of the success. It ain't that easy.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. 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 Right.
You have to understand the process of identifying real estate properties, evaluating the properties, having exit strategies, building teams, identifying investors. You got to learn how to do all of that. And so within Blackwell Consortium, our real estate entity is going to be positioned to handhold our members through the process of entering into the real estate space at price points that they can afford,
Mm-hmm.
which is where collaboration becomes important, right? So we create joint ventures, and we are going to leverage that platform for our members as long as they need to operate in that space until they build their confidence, their skill sets, and then just like a baby bird, when you feel that your wings are strong enough for you to fly away, then off you go to mastering your own real estate activity. So we're really excited about how BWC, how this crusade has evolved. We started out with the vision that took us into the real estate space, and we just full circle. But we have so much
Yes.
added value and richness to our strategy. And again, I remind our members every Sunday during our training session that the vision of BWC relies on the success of each member.
Yes.
So BWC's purpose, mission, and vision is to help our members find their purpose, their mission, their vision, and leverage our platform to learn how to acquire the resources that will facilitate that journey.
Bev, I tell you, in the topic that I placed on Facebook, it was talking about a holistic approach to economic development in the community. And what you have
Mhm.
done is fulfill that topic in what you have said. And I am just so excited to be a member of BWC because I need to be taught. And you and I share a similar vision, and that is of leaving a legacy with 20 years here, 20 years there, and I got 49 years in the community working. Uh, it's about legacy time now. It's
Yes.
about passing
Yes.
on all the experience that I hear coming from you. And this is why, listening audience, viewing audience, you have to value independent media like what we are putting forth before you. You have to value that because where can you go and tune in on your cable station to hear someone from your own family discussing a holistic approach to the paradigm that we're about to enter, leaving a paradigm of minimum. We coming out of a mindset of settling for minimum lifestyle. Here, Sister Bev has detailed, and I'm telling you, I am just so excited. But go to that website, and Bev, before I give our website, your website is on there, is in the chat box too. I had Brother Marvin, who's a part of Black Wall Street, and he's been on. He's dealing with the academic portion of your organization, but he placed it in the chat box. So feel free to go to that website for BWC anytime and look at the videos that's there. Get introduced to this whole body of knowledge towards advancement us from the ghetto level. I say it like that because I'm from the hood, but to the palace and the royal families that we are destined to be if we develop the mindset. Before I go, Sister Beverly, I just got to say I thank you for just pouring out your heart. And I know you got a lot left in you because I've been listening to you for a while. But our listening audience have to understand the value of this program, and we put our website tctcnow.com. It's two important tabs. There's a lot of tabs on there, but it's two important that I'm going to point out to you. The contact tab, first of all, give us your information. Let us know that you're listening, that you're getting something from this, and also put in comments of maybe you have person of interest that you would like to us to bring on the show. And the next and most important is the donation tab that we have on our website. We are 501c3 certified by the IRS to accept donation tax deductible. We got to learn that freedom is not free. The dream is free, but the journey isn't. As a limousine driver, I know the importance of being focused, as Sister Bev said, because if my destination on a freeway with a whole lot of exit on it might seem good for me to get off on this exit, get off on this exit or that exit, but that's not my destination. So we have to learn how to prioritize our journey and structure our journey. And this is what Blackwell Consortium is all about. And this is what Black Wall Street platform is all about, to invite others, organization, other professional to come and let's take this journey together. Let's collaborate with each other because we could be a mighty force collectively, more so than we can as individuals. We just come into this individual dispensation during the last 6,000 years. But when you heard, declining. But when you heard of history of our people, it was always a collaboration, unity. We heard the saying, it take a village to raise a child. See, all of that come from unity, being one. And this is where I think we need to focus on. And I think, Sister Beth, you could close out, but I just had to say that and let people know this is no joke, because what we are getting ready to go into is a disturbed, disrupted, and confused situation with little or no vision and little or no knowledge, not even the proper mindset as being responsible people. But somebody's getting ready to teach us something. Sister Bev, go ahead, close out for us. I appreciate you dearly, sister.
Are you kidding me? I have nothing to say after that other than I want to thank you and your listening audience. We're excited about what we're doing with Black Wealth Consortium, and we welcome everyone to check out the website, and we would definitely welcome an opportunity for you to join Brother Hillman in the Courage to Change Now, his crusade, and Black Wealth Consortium in terms of our crusade. So I want to wish that every family that is listening to this video, wish that you be safe, stay well for your family, and we look forward to you joining the crusade.
And would it be appropriate for me to invite them to your Sunday evening call?
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, because I know that you said that there was one website that was put in the chat. Can you tell me which one that is? And I'm going to actually give the listening audience a sequence that I would recommend for them to get more information.
It
So
was
what's
BWC for us or .org.
absolutely. So that website will contain videos, very short videos, 3 4 minute videos on the big picture, as I hopefully have outlined somewhat succinctly today. The second website is bwcacademy.com. And you don't put the www in front of it, it's an HTTPS website. But if you go there and register, access to some of our training modules, and this will give you a feel and a sense for our strategies and our direction. And then lastly, as Brother Hillman mentioned, on Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Pacific
Pacific.
Time, we have what we call the Founders Forum. And this is where Dr. Joe and I, we hang out with anyone that shows up, share what we're doing, get your questions answered, and help you to make a decision as to whether or not our crusade, our journey is a fit for you. So I look to see you guys any way I can in terms of us growing this collaborative effort and this crusade to a level where we can, in fact, make a change by acting courageously.
Brother Marvin, were you able to get that last website in the chat box?
https:// bwcacademy.com. That's the full link.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, Facebook friends. There you have it, Sister Bev. I really learned a lot, and I know it's a value that's going to keep on giving to our community. I look forward to bringing the state of Alabama to Blackwell Consortium, and also whatever other partner institution or organization, please feel free to contact us. I think our phone number is on there, our website is on there, the contact page, the donation tab, and all that. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning with another guest. uh, he's going to bring some with him to top Sister Bell. But anyway, it's not a competitive thing, it's an informative thing. And that's what we
Absolutely.
need more of. We're not challenging each other, we are enriching each other with this platform. Sister Bell, you have a good evening, and I'm going to say great evening to a great afternoon to our listeners, and thank you for being so patient with us during this newscast and this informative session that we just had. You guys stay safe out there. The weekend is coming. Some of the cities and states are opening back up, but be careful out there. You need to stay at home and practice some of this and listen to this again. And let's put some of this into action rather than putting yourself in harm's way. So, Sister Beth, you all, everybody, have a good evening. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye now.